Hey guys, welcome to we're on episode 11 now of the Inner Alchemy with Sundar Roy podcast, and I have my beloved Dom here with me today, and we are going to be doing our first ever joint long form transmission with a bit of a geopolitical update. Have you got some Gematria stuff in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, so yes, and another thing, we're going to do a full breakdown on all the kind of geopolitical events that we haven't had time to comment on over the last couple of weeks because we were super busy with the quantum field work, the webinar, Dom coming here, me preparing for Dom to come here, and all the stuff that's just going on in life under tyranny. So it's the full-length video is going to be exclusively available to our Patreons. And then we're going to do a shorter, more edited down, cleaner version for YouTube for obvious reasons. There's certain things that we cannot talk about on YouTube. But we definitely want to keep it real for our OGs and people who are super aligned with what we're doing here and what we're disclosing and what we're bringing to you. So you can get that content over on Patreon. So yeah, join us there. And the link for that is in the description. Okay, so I thought that we'd take it back a little bit and talk about the little spat between Trump and Elon Musk. And you had a few things to say about that.
Yeah, it's just they're playing good cop, bad cop, trying to restore faith in the Q camp that like Trump's the good guy against the obvious Nazi.
And then the Neuralink, the herald of the mark of the beast.
Like, how can anyone forget about that? So we got, on one hand, we have the good guy, Trump, right, who has already killed, single-handedly, more Americans than all wars that America has ever been involved with the... And how anyone forgets that or looks past that is beyond me. And then we also have, on the other hand, the bad cop, right, who also endorsed who said, yeah, think back in around April Fool's Day.
Try to use code words.
What's that?
Code words. Yeah, so like the pokes or something. I think they're still censoring that stuff. It's okay. I'll just I'll just reduce the audio on that.
Right.
Or like just use subtitles in the edit. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. But just it will make it easier for me in the edit if you if you use code words for that particular term.
So yeah, on the other hand, you have Elon Musk, who also promoted the pokes back in 2021 around April Fool's Day. And then he allegedly says the jab got him sent to the hospital. But either way, yeah, he's the herald of the mark of the beast who wants to brain implant, microchip everybody. Well, yeah, that's for good reasons, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're both Jesuit educated, both Zionists, Freemasons. They're in the club. They both party with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, you have him pretending to be against them, but they're all photographed seen partying together. And where's it going with that?
Yeah. They're seen partying together. They're all butt buddies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have the predictive programming of the Musk Cybertruck exploding right in front of the Trump Tower.
Right.
An iconic photo.
Yeah, and that was right before the spat, huh?
Right, just predictive programming.
Yeah.
Just conditioning you to think that, like, oh, maybe they're against each other. Maybe there's something going to happen between them. And just messing with people's heads. It's all psychological warfare. It's just so obvious. I don't know how anyone doesn't see it.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Oh, that's what I remember now. So, yeah, you have Elon Musk who's he came out with the Doge thing, right, that snooped through and found all the corruption in the government, right? So he could have easily released the Epstein files, right, if that was the case. But what did they do? No, we'll just send all that data that he stole to Palantir to create a digital surveillance system to track and trace everybody and know everything about you. Right?
Yeah, I wasn't following that too closely.
Yeah,
so, if you can fill everyone in on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have this Palantir digital surveillance system teaming up with AI and taking all the data that basically Musk collected, was given to basically, and Trump's endorsing that as well. So people think that's for their benefits, really? Oh yeah, the government literally knows everything about you, all your medical history, everything, just punched into the AI digital surveillance system. They sold all that data, and with AI, that's the most important thing you could do is collect data, and then you know everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're both rolling that out together, and no one's disclosing it because they're both on the Epstein list. So that's why they're not going to tell you who's on it.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for so long now. It's not even.
So you think Musk is also on the Epstein list?
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I looked at the Epstein list. I didn't look at every single name though. There's like so many names.
Right.
So many names.
Surely, if
lots of Zionists.
If you wanted to prove you aren't on the list, you're the president, and also Musk, you're the guy who has all the information about the corruption and who's on the list. Why wouldn't either of you be releasing the list?
Yeah, exactly. That's so true, isn't it? That's so true.
But what they're both doing is supporting Israel.
Okay, so obviously I wasn't able to jump on here and speak on the whole thing that happened recently with India and Pakistan. There was obviously a terrorist attack, which I believe was a Mossad, CIA kind of deep state black op that happened in Kashmir. Quick history lesson. India was basically partitioned in 1947, 1 year before the creation of the Zionist settler colony. And this is important, and I'm going to detail why later, but in that year they created Pakistan. So Pakistan was basically East Pakistan and West Pakistan and East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, which became Bangladesh in 1975 after a big genocide where they fought against Pakistan, and Pakistan went and killed loads and loads of Bengalis. But they drew up the borders between India and Pakistan overnight and caused one of the biggest, top 3 bloodbath in human history. Okay, it was horrific. This is basically where my grandparents are from. So it caused a lot of regional tensions and conflict, religious conflict, and nationalistic conflict between India and Pakistan, because there's obviously a lot of resentment because of what happened there. But they left Kashmir, which is the region in the north, undivided. So Kashmir is essentially like the Palestine of the region, okay? And they are currently being occupied by the Indian army. Obviously, the Indian army has a claim that Kashmir belongs to them because it used to belong to them. Most Kashmiris tend to be Muslim. A lot of them want to belong to Pakistan. I have Kashmiri friends who have who identified as Pakistani, but I think from the general consensus is, and I don't want to speak for all Kashmiris, but a lot of the Kashmiris that I know, they kind of just want their independence now, because obviously their region has seen a lot of conflict and a lot of bloodshed and a lot of suicide bombs and things like that. And they've been used as a political chess piece to stoke up tension between India and Pakistan. Now, this is obviously important for what's happening in the Israel-Palestine area, because it's incredibly important. Israel has basically been courting India as an ally for decades now, and wanting to use India as a pawn to distract Pakistan, because obviously, and we'll speak on this later, but Pakistan is a nuclear power, right? So if they can keep you can speak on this in a bit. Let me just finish my point. Pakistan is a nuclear power, so poses an existential threat to Israel, is the narrative, right? So if India can keep Pakistan occupied, then Pakistan doesn't pose as much of a threat to Israel. Pakistan has always been anti-Zionist, okay? The Pakistani passport is basically it's valid in every country except for Israel, because they don't recognize Israel as a country. They've always been pro-Palestine. Obviously, Pakistan is an Islamic republic, so they consider Palestinians to be part of the Ummah, the collective body of Muslims, and so they've always been very strong allies for Palestine. So yeah, that's the India-Pakistan connection. Is there anything you want to say?
I don't know much about it, to be honest,
but you wanted to make a point about the nuclear.
Oh, yeah. So, a while back, probably, I don't know, over a decade ago now, I saw this documentary on YouTube that exposed the nuclear hoax. And I always had a feeling that, I don't know, well, growing up, I was always scared of nukes, right? Oh my God, it could happen any moment. I had, nightmares about it and stuff. But yeah, then I thought something was fishy about it. I'm like, man, surely if they had nukes, they would have done something with them by now. Everybody hates each other. All these countries allegedly hate each other so much, right? Anyway, and yeah, so there was this documentary. It was great. It just exposed the whole nuclear hoax and how basically the military used massive stacks of TNT dynamite and just made these explosions, and it would create the quote-unquote mushroom cloud nuclear explosion. And then they would take that footage and splice it over other footage and combine nuclear clouds with multiple nuclear clouds to make it look even bigger and more dramatic. And then they use these little model figurines of like houses and trees and how they were getting decimated by the nuclear blast explosion. And it's so fake when you sit there and scrutinize it and actually look at it and play it slowly and really think about it, what you're saying, because you'll see like nothing makes sense. Like, how is the camera sitting there watching this house and all the trees get blown away? It doesn't even shake. It doesn't even flinch. Like,
that's such
what?
a good point. That's
like,
such a good, I never thought about that.
And also, like, the camera footage in these clips, it changes. From one moment they show you, like, an actual house and trees, then you see the image is cut, and then you're looking at a model house and trees, and it just gets blown away and decimated. You're like, come on. But, like, back in the day, you couldn't pause and scrutinize things. You couldn't rewind the tape and watch it. You just saw these little clips showed on the news like, whoa, that's what a nuclear bomb does. Watch out for this. And then they just fearmonger and indoctrinate everybody to think that this is possible, that they have these weapons out there. They got our grandparents and our parents huddling under their desks in the nuclear fetal position for safety in case this horrible attack happens, right? And now they've just been indoctrinating us and pre-programming us with all this media and video games like what's the game? Fallout. You know, we grew up playing video games about like nuclear explosions and post-apocalyptic worlds and stuff from these catastrophic attacks and whatnot, and it's bullcrap.
Yeah,
right?
it's
all fear-mongering just to drag you into war with these people, because now they're like, if you look at what Netanyahu's been saying since 1992 now, he's been saying the same story, like, oh, Iran's 3 years away from having a nuclear bomb. If we take them out now, we could stop this. Then 3 years later, in 1995, he makes a book that talks about the same thing in 5 to 7, but he changed it, and he doesn't mention that 3 years prior he said within 3 years Iran would have a nuke. He changed it to, like, he just moves the goalpost. He goes, about 5 to 7 years from now in the book, he says Iran will have a nuclear bomb for sure. And I just gotta play that clip. Like, can we play it here, or should we just
we can add it in for sure.
This is a great just compilation video of him since 1995 all the way up until today saying the same thing. Iran is so close to having nuclear bombs. If we wait any longer, and it's just the same old story.
Not stopped. Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Never happens. And meanwhile, who is the one who we know has nuclear bombs allegedly? Israel and the U.S. who are teaming up.
Yeah.
So who's the bigger threat?
Yeah.
Who's actually going around terrorizing everybody?
Yeah, that's crazy. And when I was researching this video, I actually saw them saying that Iran is months away from nuclear being a nuclear threat. It's weeks away. If we don't stop them now, we gotta go for, were they gonna be whatever, the big boogeyman? It's kind of giving weapons of mass destruction.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, it's the same story. Like, it might as well be George Trump Sr., right? He's like, where he's just like, oh, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Did they? No. What's going to happen after we go and destroy Iraq? Oh, we didn't find any weapons of mass destruction there either.
Yeah. Yeah, so people might be wondering, why are they going after Iran? What's your take on that?
I mean, they disclosed it. There was a military general before 9/11 even happened. Let me look up his name real quick.
I might have his name if it's the one that I'm thinking of.
General Wesley Clark.
Yeah.
Retired 4-star U.S. Army general, supreme allied commander of NATO, bravely exposed the military plan. He said clearly, we are going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iran, Starting with Iraq, then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off with Iran, after being shown a memo by the Pentagon. And this was, long before 9/11 even happened.
Yeah,
and it's just the satanic plan to slaughter millions of people, displace populations, and create poverty, and usher in the new one world order.
Yeah. There is a deeper part. There's a deeper reason why Iran is on their hit list, okay, as much as all the other countries in the Middle East, and it has to do with their Messianic plan, which I'm going to break down. So obviously Khomeini, the religious leader that is currently installed in Iran, is very vocally anti-Zionist and predicted that Israel will no longer exist in 2040. So, from the surface, is an existential threat. Now, the original democratically elected Iranian government was deposed by the deep state in August 15th, 1953, was it? The Jesuits' birthday.
So,
yeah. So, and then they installed their own puppet leader, which was the Shah of Iran. Then there was the revolution in the 70s against the Shah. The Shah was obviously a little bit more westernized, and people basically revolted against the Shah, and then there was basically a religious revolution in Iran, and then they brought in Khomeini. Okay, now I'm not an expert on Iranian politics. I'm literally just starting to dive in now, but I do know we know a little bit. With my background, we know a fair amount about the region just from my parents' conversations around the dinner table and things like that. But personally, I believe that most of these global south countries have puppet regimes or puppet governments installed. Most of them. Sometimes those leaders go rogue, or they seem to go rogue. But it could be, and I'm starting to believe now that it's part of a greater scripted agenda, that they're supposed to serve a certain purpose, and then once they've served that purpose, then they get taken out. And so, for example, with Saddam Hussein was trying to get a better oil price for the people, and he openly called out the Zionists as well as wanting to depose him. And then they obviously assassinated him and scattered his ashes or scattered his body over the ocean. It was just disgusting. It's entirely plausible because obviously he had all these different lookalikes, which are probably clones. Much like many other Western world leaders, we know that they've had cloning technology for a while. I talked about this in my video on the Queen's death and the reptilian genetics. So if you guys want to watch that one, it could just be that they just murdered a clone of his, or maybe they didn't even murder him at all, and they just said, okay, you've done your job now, go off to some island. Because I just think that probably all these leaders are in the club, and when it seems like they're doing the thing for the people, that's just part of the script. But I could be wrong about that, but that's just my opinion. I think that this is all part of their plan to usher everybody into this war, the Gog and Magog war. That's basically, they're fulfilling Abrahamic prophecy, basically biblical prophecy, specifically Old Testament prophecy, that is basically being pushed by Jewish and Christian Zionists. To kind of take control of the Middle East, bring in the Messiah. Obviously Christian Zionists have their Messiah, the Jews have their Messiah, and bring in this new age of whatever, the mark of the beast and all of that stuff, and then have the center of the New World Order in Jerusalem on the site of Al-Aqsa, which will be the third temple. They want to rebuild Solomon's temple. And this all goes into, basically, some people have compared Donald Trump to Cyrus the Great, the Persian king, who basically took over vast swathes of land and set up the, what was it called? What was the name of his empire? He basically invaded all the way up to Babylon. So he founded the Achaemenid Empire, what was known as the Achaemenid Empire. This empire basically stretched from Egypt all the way to India. And people are basically comparing Donald to Cyrus the Great. He was the only foreigner that has been referred to as basically a Jewish Messiah. And he was referred to by the prophet Isaiah in the Old Testament as the Moshiach, basically, because he helped them build. He basically, when he took them over, he was obviously wanted his empire to be really diverse and have loads of different people. So he invited the ancient Israelites back to Palestine, because he controlled that region as well, helped them rebuild the second temple that was previously destroyed by the Babylonians, at the Temple of Solomon. And so they referred to him as like their Messiah, because he helped them rebuild their temple. So he was a Zoroastrian, which is one of the most ancient religions that Judaism, Christianity, basically all the Abrahamic faiths borrow from. So many people are basically comparing Trump to Cyrus the Great and saying that he's going to found this new empire. There's been talk of this empire also having elements of the former Ottoman Empire, which was controlled by the Donmei, also known as the Young Turks, also known as the basically the Sabbatean Frankists. They were basically followers of two Jewish heretics, actually, who their followers thought that they were like that. Sabbatai Zevi was the Jewish Messiah. He was a Kabbalist, but he ended up he was forcibly converted to Islam. And his grave is now a Sufi shrine. Yeah, he had some very controversial ideas. I've mentioned him in previous videos, but basically his followers, one of his main followers was a guy called Jacob Frank, who his followers basically ended up forming the Bavarian Illuminati. So a lot of these secret societies are basically Sabbatean Frankists. So that's the Jewish Messianic connection with everything that's currently unfolding, because it's these secret societies that are behind all your government, all your alphabet agencies, a lot of your NGOs, your arms companies, your mineral companies, fossil fuels, lithium. Obviously, Iran has scores, billions of oil, gas, and lithium deposits, which are going to be super, super important for the new AI control grid and electric cars and all of that stuff. They need lithium, right? So that's why Iran is super important in this whole grand plan. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, Israel has a coin. It's their 70th anniversary coin that minted. Trump comparing him to Cyrus, right?
Right.
Like
yeah.
saying, so
Yeah.
it's literally a coin. Like,
yeah. We can drop that in. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Trust the plan.
Yeah, so guys, apparently they're also planning a preemptive strike against Pakistan. I know I have a lot of followers from both Pakistan and India. I support peace between the two countries. I don't take sides on all of this. Some of you know I've lived in both countries and I have friends in both countries. So just be prepared, be warned, warn your friends and family that they could be planning a preemptive strike on Pakistan, which will obviously not be good for India either, because there will be retaliations. If they do a preemptive strike on Pakistan, they'll probably try and make it a black ops and blame it on India. That's certainly possible.
Speaking of false flag attacks, they're also planning another one right now. Well, a while ago they said that they were going to plan some kind of false flag attack and expect it by July 4th. And right now they got the USS Nimitz, which is this U.S. Navy ship that's being sent to the Arabian Sea, supposedly to defend Israel. The ship was also scheduled for decommission because it's a 50-year-old ship, and it was supposed to be decommissioned this year, coincidentally. So what are the odds that like maybe a hypersonic missile from Iran hits that and sinks that ship? Then what? Oh, we're going to get dragged into that war, just like with the USS Liberty? I think this kind of history is repeating itself with their scamdemics and stuff and their staged false flag bullshit attacks.
Yeah.
And that ship's got 3,000 people on it, allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting, huh?
And but wait, USS Liberty, yeah, that was hit by Israel?
So where, do we have any intel or any clues about where they might be planning this false flag in the US?
They were saying it could actually be in the UK or America, somewhere. Probably both, honestly.
Okay, we better stay uptown. Stay in the suburbs.
And yeah, Trump announces this. Trump said he also knew Israel was going to attack Iran on June 13th, which is the day leaving 201 days left in the year.
Okay, what's the significance of 201?
So the Jesuit order, when you type the Jesuit order into the Gematria calculator, their Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, the Jesuit order equals 201.
Right.
Big ritual numbers with them. But yeah, how did he says he knows everything, right? He knew Iran was going to be attacked by Israel. Yeah, on June 13th. And that's also the day back in 2021 where Netanyahu temporarily stepped down. But yeah, he says he told the Washington Post that he knew that this attack was going to happen.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And also, now he's saying that he needs 2 weeks. He said this, I think, on June 19th. He needs 2 weeks to decide on the Iran conflict, which, if in 2 weeks, puts us right next to July 4th, right? Which is when this attack's probably going to happen.
Whoa, I just got chills.
Yeah.
I just got chills. So they're literally telling us to our face.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to obviously be in the know. You need to be initiated into occult wisdom to know. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like comic what was it? Comic Retribution, where they basically tell you what they're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. So if it's July 4th, that would probably be in the US. I would stay away from all July 4th big celebrations, like, please, and warn all your friends and family to stay away from big celebrations. I've got family in the US. I'm going to be warning them to stay away from big July 4th celebrations.
Yeah, and what better time to stage a false flag bombing attack when everyone's supporting bombs going off and fireworks? Like, you're not going to know where the real bomb's going off and what's the real attack. Oh, also about the October 7th, right, Hamas attacks. That was Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. And they always sync a lot of these rituals around the Pope's birthdays and major world leaders' birthdays and stuff.
Okay, so explain why the Pope's birthday.
Because basically all roads lead to Rome, right? The Vatican, these are the people who are really running the show. They're all Satanists, really. That's who's running the world. And they're all just infiltrating all these religions and pretending to be the leaders of these religions when they're all the heads of them are basically Satanists.
Yeah.
They're Zionists, Jesuit, Freemasons, all behind the scenes. Always was, always have been, always will be. Like, just like George Washington, the very first president, Freemason. All of our history is a lie. And the Pope is Pope Gregory is the one who gave us the calendar that we all follow to this day, the false Gregorian calendar that's not synced up with the moon cycles.
Yeah.
Every calendar, there should be a 13th month. Every month should have 28 days. Would make more sense. We wouldn't have to have all these leap years and weird.
And we'd celebrate New Year in the spring.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Exactly. And they also gave us the English language, credited to the Jesuits as well, this limited language that we're all speaking, that, and words are spelling, casting words and stuff. So, they control us with this, and that's how they script all these rituals. That's how it's all perfectly synced up. Like, look at this. So if you type out World War III in Gematria equals 71, and October 7th, aka 7/10, breaks down to 7/71, right? 71 again. The anniversary of the U.S. invading Afghanistan after the alleged 19 hijackers also happened October 7th.
Whoa, really? Oh my God, I just got chills again.
The other weird thing is, not weird, it's scripted, but yeah, also that word doesn't make sense, right? Because the hijackers are from Saudi Arabia, so why did we go invade Afghanistan?
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia was allegedly our allies. So none of it makes sense, but no one questions anything. So, Putin will also be 73 this year on October 7th. And World War III, like I said, in the reverse reduction, also equals 73 in Gematria.
Wow.
Putin's birthday matters in this ritual, obviously, because he's at war with Ukraine, which is also known as ancient Khazaria, where the Khazarian Jews are from, right? Also, in 2026 will be 73 years since the CIA overthrew Iran, which is interesting to note. It's also on June 19th, which is King James' birthday. Trump said he needed the 2 weeks to decide on the Iran conflict. Trump was reselected by the NWO to be the president on November 5th, which is also the anniversary of the Jesuits attempting to kill King James, who King James allegedly died at 58 years old, and Trump allegedly, when he got reselected, had 58% of the Electoral College approval. They love to mock you with these numbers.
King James of England.
Which King James is it?
I would have thought it would be England.
Probably. I forget exactly.
So I think the one who wrote the Bible. So you know,
That's what I thought. Yeah.
You know, King James
That's
was
what I was
actually
thinking.
black or like mixed race.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and they obviously tried to hide that as well, and they
Mhm.
took out his son as well. Yeah, that's an interesting rabbit hole to
Yeah,
go
I think it
down.
goes back to King James of the Bible. Like,
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about here.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same bloodlines running this shit since way back. And, yeah, so that false flag is coming around July 4th to drag us into World War III.
Yeah, so I think they also want to, what's the word? Basically embezzle all the funds from Iran as well. Like I mentioned before, there's billions of dollars of oil, gas, and lithium in Iran. So one thing that Loki mentioned in his recent transmission on this, Loki's a British hip hop artist and journalist. He's of Iraqi, but he's British Iraqi. He basically covered that there were people there were groups, entities that received reparations for what happened in Iraq. They're basically, I got them here: Halliburton, Shell, Mobil, Nestle, Pepsi, Israeli farmers, and Israeli travel agents all received millions and sometimes even billions of money from Iraq, from looting Iraq, because of lost business during the Saddam Hussein regime. So they were given reparations for Saddam Hussein being in power and them not getting their whatever they felt business they were owed. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Literally killed 1.2 million Iraqi civilians, and the people that receive reparations are these fucking corporations and Zionists. Yeah. So, okay, I think I've actually said everything that I need to say. That was actually so much more compact than...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But one thing I do want to add, maybe I'll round it up at the end. Do you want to say what you need to say?
Yeah, I'll continue here a little bit with some Gematria stuff.
There's one thing that I wanted to say about Gaza, which I can wrap up with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so World War III, when you type it out, 3, THREE, equals 181 in Gematria's reverse ordinal cipher. Just like Iran allegedly launched 181 missiles.
Can you just explain to the people what a reverse ordinal cipher is?
Yeah, so in Gematria you have 4 main ciphers that they usually script these rituals by. You have the regular... Hold on, let me show you. Yeah, so you have the original ordinal, which is just A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, down to 20... Z equals 26.
Yeah.
Then you have the reduction, where it's like once you get to 9, the numbers start over and kind of condense back down. So it'll be
right. Okay. So, and the reverse ordinal cipher is what type of cipher?
So once
you switch it around. My knees are sweaty. It's so hot. It's the hottest day in London today. It's like 31 degrees. Which is what in Fahrenheit for our US viewers?
Mm-hmm.
What do you know what it is?
What
31 degrees Celsius is in Fahrenheit?
Probably dang near 100.
Yeah, so it's as hot today as it is in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, it was like identical temperature.
Yeah.
So yeah, the English reverse ordinal is where Z is 1 backwards. So up to A is 26 instead of Z being 26, which is just reversed. Then you have the full reduction cipher, which is where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, so forth. And when you get to J, after 9, I is 9, J becomes 1, and it starts over and goes 1 through 9 again. Then you have the English reverse full reduction, which is where it's that but backwards. So Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, back to... When you get to, say, R is 9, then Q starts over at 1, and goes forth. So basically, but yeah, when you use these 4 ciphers, let's see. In the reverse ordinal cipher, you have World War III equals 181, and then they also said allegedly that Iran launched 181 missiles at Israel on October 1st back in 2024. 181 is the 42nd prime number. And other words that have 42 equals Iran equals 42, war equals 42, Hamas equals 42,
Oh my God.
Zionism equals 42, World War equals 42.
Oh my God.
The U.S. deployed troops into World War II on 1942. Also, but the vaccine ritual is all about 42 a lot too. That's a big one too. So, let's see. InfoWars is 42. Squid Games is 42, which is basically what they're doing to the Palestinians right now, making them fight for
this is
food and just slaughtering them.
That's I had that exact point here. Yeah, but I'll let you finish.
Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine's name equals 42, because they're tied. Like, why don't they give us the Epstein list? No, we'll give you war instead, because those numbers are all tied into this as well. With this ritual. They also say World War I ended November 11th, which is 11/11. At 11 a.m.
Wow.
Really, like, who calls it out? Like,
wow.
When they just announced the war has ended at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
What? Who declares that? But yeah, so, and if you break that down, so you have 11/11, four ones equals 4, then 11 a.m. you have 2 more ones equals 42.
Wow.
They love, it's all number games to them. This is how they script everything and mock us and just.
So I'm trying to convince Dom to do a little mini course or even a bigger course on Gematria. So if you guys would like to see that and you'd like to study that, smash the like button, or even better, just leave us a comment saying that you would like to do that, and we will actually set aside some time and prioritize it if that's something, if we get enough interest. Because I want to learn it as well. I think it's really the insight that you're bringing with the Gematria decode is just
it's
phenomenal.
Powerful.
Yeah,
it's powerful knowledge, because it's like literally how these criminal occult organizations script all the rituals. So it's like they're putting their fingerprints on all the crimes they perpetrate. You can see through all the news headlines. You can see through all the sports and how it's all rigged and scripted. You can know who's going to win the Super Bowl before they even go to the game.
Yeah.
So
make a lot of money.
So also the day Netanyahu came back in 2022 on 12/29, December 29th. December 29th is Albert Pike's birthday, the prominent Freemason who published a letter back in, when was that? August 15th of 1871, which the Jesuits' birthday, said that there would be 3 major world wars. How did he predict that? It's easy to predict the future when your family and your brotherhood's in control since the beginning. Same with prophecy, right? How are they fulfilling all these prophecies? The Bible's coming true. It's because they scripted all this stuff. It's the same families orchestrating. Rome never fell. The empire just changed faces. It's like we're still ruled by the same people. Like all roads lead to Rome, right?
I love the t-shirt, baby.
Thanks. And these are the people, like I said, who gave us the English language, the modern day Pope Gregorian calendar that we all follow. It's all synced up. So also 12/29, December 29th is the 201st prime, 201 again, Jesuits. Also World War III, also when you spell it out, equals 71 in the Gematria's reduction cipher. 1871, the Jesuits' order birthday. So October 7th kicked off 71, remember? I said that earlier. And 71 days before the Pope's birthday. World War III equals 71. October 7th, 7/1, when you get rid of the 0 and the 10. Just all scripted by the numbers. It's just not even funny.
Yeah.
I think I covered everything.
Okay, should I wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, while our eyes are on Iran and, those of us who are paying attention to what's happening, obviously not talking about the people who are completely dissociating from the horror, there's been flower massacres every day in Gaza. At the aid distribution sites, which are basically just like Squid Games. So Candy and the Kings just posted a really good reel that we were watching today. I'll see if I can clip it and actually post it here.
This is just insane. There is nothing in the world happening like this. I'd like to read you testimony from a Palestinian man who was at one of the aid distribution points in Gaza. It felt like I was in an episode of Squid Games. Thousands, tens of thousands, sleep near the gate waiting for sunrise because the amount of food being distributed is so limited. I arrive at 2 a.m. as the dawn broke. A quadcopter drone approaches the crowd and spoke in Arabic. You will now enter to receive the food. There is a limited time. You must all leave before it runs out. You must stick to the time. Gets worse. Everyone gets up, taking off their shirts to turn them into makeshift bags for cans of beans and sacks of rice. An employee from the American company waves his hand for people to enter. People rush in screaming. It felt like Judgment Day. We enter a large yard surrounded by iron fences. U-shaped tables are stacked with everything Gazans long for: rice, oil, sugar, chocolate, flour. And because the supplies can only feed a few hundred people, the yard turns into something like a Roman gladiator area. Whoever loses, their family will sleep hungry tonight. When the time runs out, the quadcopter comes back again, ordering people to retreat and leave the yard immediately. No one listens. Everyone is busy picking food off the floor. I saw a woman and her child collecting grains of rice mixed with sand, pouring them into a sack they were carrying. Then an Israeli tank takes position on a nearby hill overlooking the distribution point. It opened fires on the crowd. People scream and run. No one cares about anyone. They step over the bodies struck by bullets. Everyone is trying to survive. This is not an age distribution point. These are death traps.
They're getting people to basically like line up and go through, you know, like cattle basically. And if they don't leave at the appointed time, they shoot them. And there have been massacres every single day where they've been shooting children who are basically just trying to get food for their starving families. It's absolutely fucking sick. I just commented this on one of Nay's posts, that these shows like Squid Game and the Hunger Games and things like that is all predictive programming, karmic retribution stuff, where they're basically prophesying and telling you to your face what they're planning to do. People thought, oh, Squid Game was like this artful artful rendition of like modern dystopian society, and it's a comment on dystopia. It's literally a script that they're following, and they're trying to get us to normalize this shit. When the first flower massacre, obviously there were people protesting, like, you know, and up in arms about it. They were absolutely horrified. Now they're like, okay, let's just do this every day. They're just trying to exhaust us, and they're trying to burn us out to the point where we're just normalize it. We're just like, well, you know, it's always happened, and so you might as well just live your life and be happy. Like, this shit is coming to our doorstep if we continue to normalize it and we don't say anything. And I'm not saying that don't live your life and don't be happy. I'm just saying that, like, you should be recognizing what time it is, recognizing what the agenda is, and now working towards dismantling these systems in whatever way you can. Obviously, some people have bigger missions than others. Some people have literally revolution that flows through their blood and their bloodlines as well. Okay, there are people who incarnated into certain bloodlines to actually be system busters, and that's who our work mostly serves. But there are people who are going to assist in other ways that everybody's going to play a part in this, like everybody in different ways. And, you know, your way might not seem so obviously, like, you know, system busting and making huge waves, but think about it, there's billions of us. Like, there's only a few hundred of them who are trying to enslave us all. There's billions of us, and we're scared of them. Like, we should not be scared of them. Like, they're running all these games to try and control us. They're like obsessed with us. It's us that have the power, and we keep on giving it to them. Like, this all celebrity worship culture, like worshipping people who are literally part of the club, and who are actually portaling and channeling fallen deities to try and get you to worship them. Like, that's what celebrity culture is, basically. It's idol worship. We need to get right with God. We need to submit to the Most High, and we need to align with our mission blueprints and what we came here to do in this lifetime. Yeah.
And speaking of God, like, where is everyone's fearlessness that believes in God and has God on their side? Like, why is no one standing up? Why is everyone afraid to oppose these people?
Yeah. Well, we have seen some real lion hearts over the last few years, but it would be helpful to see more.
And also back to Squid Games programming too. They had that glass bridge breaking in one of the episodes, right? And then we had all the bridge collapses happening.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. Okay, this is actually something that I should have mentioned. I forgot to mention. I started watching Squid Game, and I recommend actually that you guys don't watch shows like that.
Yeah.
I started watching it, and I could literally, I'd initiated into my work with the quantum field work that I do with clients. I could literally feel my solar plexus getting implanted and getting plugged into a frequency net of like, it was like a poverty famine field. It was like, had this like dog eat dog frequency of like survival, famine, there's never enough, you've always got to struggle. It literally just from watching the first episode, and I was just like, yeah man, it's such a like a struggle out there, and it's all everybody's struggling. And I was just like, no, like I was just like, literally no, like God's design, how God designed us to be living, when we actually have the proper 12 sphere tree of life, the true tree of life, not the reversal 10 sphere, the Kabbalic Klepoth, that basically inverts all your energy and eliminates good from your light body. When you have the proper 12 sphere tree of life in your light body, which I activate for my clients, you start generating your mission template, and it has your personal divine abundance, it has your divine mission, it will align you with your divine union, like me and Dom have come together because we are submitted to God. When you submit to God and your soul's blueprint on this planet, we're supposed to be living in abundance. We're not supposed to be enslaved by these systems. And it can be so easy. Once you start activating it, you drop all the old programs, the fear programs. You realize, you're like, why am I scared of these nutters, these psychopathic nutters? I mean, what's the worst they can do? Like kill us? Like, oh, they deplatformed me. Big deal. My podcast went viral the same week. Like, God has way bigger plans than what the enemy can plan against us. So we got to just stop being so fearful and stop living in fear and stop being little cowards, because the more of us stand up, they're not gonna succeed. They're not gonna succeed the more of us stand up. I mean, they're not doing too well right now. Yeah, their plans aren't going too well.
Yeah, they're freaking out.
Yeah,
They're desperate. But I don't think they're done with that Squid Game's bridge collapse ritual. I think there's a grand finale.
Yeah.
Grand finale coming for that too.
Yeah.
Sadly.
And even if they do kill us, guys, death is not the end. You literally just drop the body and you continue your life in the earth realms, or you can go into the higher dimensions, and it doesn't end. We live eternally.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you really think that would be all God had planned for you?
Yeah.
Like, there's a much more beautiful place and infinite life after this.
Yeah. Okay, with that, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks, baby.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
It's so good. Okay, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
See ya.